Hey man, it's Trace. Yeah, you had a great week. This was a really good week. Your training stress balance is actually -7, which is just a tad on the high side. But as we're kind of coming into the first of the year, we can start pushing that closer to -8, which is what we want. Um, but if you look here back at the last 30 days, you can see your training stress balance has been a little bit more pushed into the negatives than it has probably in the last, gosh, even if we did 90 days back. This was your vacation here, your time off the bike. But you can see here, if I go all the way over here to the right, you can see exactly how how this has been steadily moving up. So this was your kind of off-season area here. Get back on the bike and um, you have to be happy with that. You can see, isn't that cool how it kind of stair steps all the way up, and that's doing exactly what we want. This is probably a bigger jump this week than other weeks, and what I'm probably going to do is kind of try to match uh, this coming week what you did this week, just to give yourself a chance to sort of recover. If we look here for the week, you were 331, which is a little bit high as far as training stress goes. If I get back over here and show you what our training stress planner is now that we're basically in the new part of the season here. Let's see, we got it here. So we have you pegged for the start of the year being about 268 training stress, and so being over 300s, that's going to be that would be more like towards the end of January. But what I think we'll do is we'll try to make these two. We're gonna keep it there, and then assume that you kind of merge with the plan here. Biggest thing is uh, essentially the week of February 13th. We're going to really want to have you down and take that full recovery week. That way we get you on that 6 week cycle. And here we'll be starting the 5x5s. By the way, the numbers that you put in on that VO2 were crazy high, like 340 watts or whatever. That's insane. And I don't know if I want you up that high wattage wise on the 5x5s when we get there. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But anyway, and also we're going to have you pull. We didn't start pulling back your weights the beginning of December. We're gonna go ahead and have you pull back off your weights this time, so this week. So that will be a little bit more fun, more time on the bike and less time on the weights. So yeah, if we look here, everything else looks good. 20-minute peaks looks great. 251, that's awesome. You can see you haven't been that high, gosh, for a while. So that's pretty good since all the way going back to October. And again, we're not even really shooting for your 20-minute peak to be high yet this time of year. So that's a really good thing here too. Um, let's see. Let's see if we go to. Oh, I wanted to show you your training stress and intensity factor, so you can see how you had a pretty high here one on the 6th of November, but you really on New Year's Eve you had a great ride there, followed by some good recovery. So that's pretty well. And this, if I go to Mark's week here, you can see you've done some pretty good time and threshold in VO2, which we're going to be in these areas up here for this week, this part of the week. So that's pretty good to see. Starting to see some more of that. And again, I think if we can try to match that for this week's, we're going to be happy. And I do see some outdoor riding, which is great. Let's see if I can go back. If you go back 30 days, this is the first time you had a chance to get outdoors so in a while. So very cool. Very happy to see that. Nice to see anytime you can get outdoors and sort of break it up a little bit. So okay, let's take a look at your rides. On Wednesday. I went ahead and marked all your laps here. This was the beginning of basically your hard VO2s, And check this out, 327, 324, 342, 349, 367. Dude, you're just cranking. And your 164 heart rate, man, you're really putting that effort into it. And look at your efficiency factor. All of those were over 2.0. So 2.17, 2.13, 2.30, incredible, really good. We still are seeing a little bit of discrepancy between your left and right foot. Your right leg is definitely stronger. That's just something we're just going to want you to watch and just sort of think about as you're doing these things. Just feel like, ask yourself if you're favoring one leg or the other, whatever. That's something important to kind of keep our eye on. The other thing too, so we did is took a look here at the next day. So basically, we wanted I did a couple samples to see how your fatigue resistance was, and it was really good. You were 1.8 efficiency factor on this very first sample range here, and then you were 1.62. So you had lost probably about 8%, or just through fatigue, and that's hitting the hour mark versus the 40-minute mark where you would have been completely warmed up. So that's pretty good. And just real quick, if we take that over here to Friday, you can see here that the two sample ranges were even closer together. So you're beginning to be able to have a hard day and be able to put in a good effort the next day. And obviously we're not hammering you like on Thursday. This isn't, I think your peak was 140 heart rate here and here. But yet what it shows is that you're developing the fatigue resistance that we want, and kind of letting your knee recover and not have too much trouble getting into to holding power a couple of days in a row. So that's really good. So again, if we look here at Friday, and that's a long ride there too. Saturday was your big long day, and so what I did is I marked your 10-minute power peak here, and then I noticed you did a very similar second set here. And this is great, 295, 258. This is where we want it. This was a little bit high power-wise, this 10-minute section here. I'm okay with it. But I am seeing the heart rate up to 160. That's okay. That's really okay. But what I am happy to see is that you brought it down to 258 here, and that's really what's going to help you build. Another thing that's going to kind of help you build up your fitness is by putting these second sets in. But a lot of good recovery. Notice here how you recovered even quicker on the second set to a lower heart rate. So your heart rate there was 124, and your heart rate here was 131 coming off of that. So good day, a really good day, and just some spinning out. That's really good. Notice here too, your cadence is pretty high as you are just kind of finishing up your ride there. And then on Sunday, this thing all looks good. Another just kind of, this is more of a endurance slash little bit of tempo. I see some tempo sets in here. Everything good there. Nice build here. I loved it might not be super easy to see, but you can see here as your heart rate is going up, your power is almost following that same axis. So the x to y z, or the x to z, sorry, the x to y ratio as you go to this way and this way. The slope angle looks very much the same between the two power ranges. So that's good. Good backfill here, and then again you sort of repeated that up here again. And a couple little spikes here. I'm okay with it. They were short, nothing crazy. I think, was this an outdoor day? Yeah, and that's probably why. The outdoor days tend to have a little bit of those spikes here, and I can see where about you were. So there might have been a stoplight or something else that you were like accelerating for or whatever, but no big deal. Let's see what your temperature was. You were, let's see what I can see what the temperature, 43. Oh, that's not too bad. Pretty decent. And then yesterday, again, this is your weights. What I do have marked on your calendar for this week is we're going to cut back a little bit on your weights and just add that over here onto more endurance. So you're going to start seeing that too. So let's get over to your calendar, just take a look, and we will talk you through your week. Let's see here. Okay, here we are, January. We're calling this base season start, so we're saying basically 20% less weights, more endurance. We're going to keep you on that 40% on your TT bike, but do vary your position. So stay in your TT position about 30% of the time, and then you can obviously you don't have to do the standing, but then you can sit up the rest of it. So roughly 30% of your time needs to be in the TT position, especially on the hard sets on the VO2 V1 and the Tempo W5. So those are the days here where you really want to, anytime you're doing any of your work, you want 30% of your time doing the hard work in the TT position. So again, and on this Sunday, the long ride, the Saturday, they're going to be. This is the one where you alternate the gear and everything else. That's kind of a fun, just get it done sort of thing. So this week should be probably over 300 training stress points again, and I think you're ready. And I think we're just kind of hold that pattern until it merges with our planner, which is going to be right around here, and then in a couple weeks after that you'll have the week off, so to kind of let you rest, and it'll be very light spinning, probably half hour a day of spinning, and maybe just some quick little tempo things just to let you uh, blow out some of the cobwebs or whatever. But yeah, dude, I'm totally pumped. This these numbers here are just crazy. That 342. I mean, when you're doing 350 watts for 3 minutes, that's no joke. I mean, you can't fake that stuff. You definitely cannot fake it. And it should be pretty easy for you to start adding a couple more minutes onto that. Of course, if that number could be done around 315 for those 5-minute FTPs, be really happy. But let's see, the time in between your laps. You're getting a full, what are you getting, a 3-minute recovery here in between them. So, you'll have more time in between your hard sets to recover too. So you'll be adding 2 more minutes onto your set, but you'll also be adding 2 more minutes recovery, at least for a few weeks, and then the FTP2 starts. So, yeah, dude, I think the biggest thing is really looking at everything from this kind of, if I can get back here to your overall stuff, is when you look out basically 90 days, you can definitely see that pattern, and that's what we're after. So again, very good stuff, and really, really happy with that. And I'm thinking that again, we'll just keep you cranking for this week, and everything should be good. All right, buddy. Love you, and have a good afternoon. Thanks, man. Bye-bye.